Do you need to sell your house and buy a new one at the same time? It's very common, but it makes a challenging process many times more difficult. So in this video, I'm going to go over 4 tools that you have to help make that process a little bit easier. Hey, my name is Paul Holub. I'm a Houston area real estate agent, and my mission is to help families move in and around the Houston area and to make the process a little bit easier by providing some great content in and around the home buying and selling experience. So even if you're not in the Houston area, this video can definitely help you with your next move. So I wanted to click over here on my screen. So the 4 tools that help you with buying and selling a home at the same time. So I'm going to go into these tools, but why should you use these tools? Well, most likely that you need to sell your home before you have the down payment on your new home. Again, it's a common experience that many people need to do because, like number 2 says, most people don't want to or can't pay double mortgages. And the next thing, number 3, is the same day double close is virtually impossible now. So the double close is when you would close on your house that you're currently living in that morning and then buy your new home that afternoon. So it'll be a busy day of closing and moving. But with the new lender laws and regulations to that, there's just so many things that could go wrong and oftentimes do that it just makes it pretty much impossible to do it the same day. Now, some people still can, but there's just so many things that can go wrong that it's helpful to use these tools. Now, and then number 4, it should provide some flexibility depending on the speed of the market. So I'll kind of dive into the speed of the market in just a little bit, but let's dive into our first tool, and that is the addendum for the sale of another property. Now, this is an addendum to the contract that we use here in Texas, where I am. Now, your state may have something similar, but basically it's an addendum that protects you. It says, hey, I've got my house under contract. My buyer's supposed to close on a specific date. Now, if they back out or if they can't do it, I can back out of your house, of buying your house, and get my earnest money back. Now, your earnest money tends to be 1 to 2% of the purchase price. It's negotiable, but it's held at the title company in an escrow account. So it's a good chunk of change that you show the seller that you earnestly want to buy their house. Now, if you back out outside of particular contingencies or don't fulfill your obligations in the contract, the seller could take that earnest money as compensation. Now, there's so many different ways and everything. I'm not going to go in that, mostly because I'm not a lawyer. But basically, it protects that money. That doesn't mean you're not going to spend some money doing inspections and buying surveys and appraisals and it still not work out, but it protects a big chunk of money that you could lose out on. So then also, it's good to know the current market conditions when you're doing this. So if you're in a hot market, a seller's market, where there are lots of homes are selling quickly and many times have multiple offers, this is probably not going to work out, because if a seller has an option between, full price offer with a contingency or, a regular offer with maybe a little bit less or at or above list price, whatever it is, most likely are not going to consider that, just because there's so much up in the air that they can't control. It's hard enough to have a buyer move all the way through the process of buying a house, much less a buyer on a buyer, so there's a lot more things that could go wrong. So it's less likely to happen. On an average market or a buyer's market, sellers are more willing to take that risk just to get a house sold. So make sure you talk with your agent about what the speed of the market is and if it is a good idea to do it. But it's really helpful to have your house under contract. Now, there are a couple of challenges with it. It does require your house to be under contract and then close by a particular time. And then if another offer on your home, if the seller gets another offer on the house, it's going to trigger a decision to either waive that contingency or back out. So it kind of gets a little bit complicated, but if you check out the blog that I wrote, I'll have a link to the description, kind of dives into that a little bit more, but basically says that, hey, we're under contract for our new house, and if another offer comes in that the seller negotiates and accepts, you have a specific amount of time to decide, hey, am I going to waive that contingency for the sale of my house, or am I just going to move forward and hope it happens? So it's a big decision and can be a little bit challenging, but check out my blog. I go into that a little bit deeper. And then additional deposit may be required if there is that waiver of contingency. So again, this is the number one tool. It's a little bit challenging, so working with your real estate professional is a great idea, but it's good to kind of know that it's there to help protect your money and to help you make the process of selling your home and buying your new home a little bit easier. Okay, so there it is. That's my website, paulholub.com. Sell a home / buy and sell a house at the same time. So that's a long URL. Again, we'll have it in the description, or you can just go to paulholub.com and search for sell a house at the same time. And then just a little CYA, I'm not a lawyer. I did stay at Holiday Inn last night. So definitely, if you have any legal questions, please speak with a real estate attorney or a qualified professional. All right, tool number 2, the real estate leaseback. So this kind of works in conjunction with the contingency of the sale of your property, and it basically allows you to rent your house after you close on it from the new owner or your buyer. So it's kind of a weird thing, but the purpose of it is so you don't have to move twice. So that's kind of the neat thing is you save from having to move twice, and it gives you some additional time and the convenience of moving when you desire. The challenges with it is that it kind of changes the relationship from buyer to seller, from you being the seller to landlord and tenant. You are now a tenant to the owner, which is a landlord. So that requires different insurance. It's not a huge deal, but if you were a tenant and you didn't have the right insurance, and then fire or flood happened, the insurance company may not cover that claim. So make sure you talk with your insurance agent before you do a leaseback. Very important. And then another thing too is that it's difficult to get a buyer to accept a leaseback. So I would suggest you negotiate that early on, because a buyer is they want to move into their house. They don't want to lease it back from you. So the earlier they can get into it, the better. And this is just an example. Say you close on your house on Monday on the 2nd. Okay, you're going to get a lease back all the way to the 16th. We have the option 2. And so then you take the proceeds of selling your house. Hey, I made 60 grand, 100 grand, or whatever it is. I'm going to take that and put it on my new home that I close on Friday the 6th. The great thing is that if you close and fund on this Friday on the 6th, then you have all this time that you can continue to rent and move in. But say, hey, something's delayed, and then you have to push back to, whenever, maybe the 11th here, you have some time to that you're still in your house, you have the proceeds, and you're not have to be rushed. So again, the leaseback term and rate is all negotiable. I try to get at least 2 weeks, 10 to 14 days at least, but it's negotiable. Another thing too, is very common to pay your buyer or now your landlord rent. Usually take, hey, what's your monthly expense, monthly payment going to be divided by 30, and then you as a renter would pay that to the landlord. It's all negotiable again. Sometimes there's 0, sometimes it's double, sometimes it's whatever, but again, it's all negotiated. But it helps and saves you the hassle and expense of having to move twice. So that's tool number 2. Moving on to tool number 3, the double move. So the double move is when you sell your house and completely move to a temporary place, say a friend, family, or short-term rental, until you find the right home of your dreams. So the temporary, the leaseback helps prevent this, but sometimes in a hot market, it's just great to have the proceeds of the sale of your home. You get your down payment ready, and you're just waiting for the right house to pop up. And this is, again, like I said, great for hot markets, and it makes your offer stronger. So instead of having to compete with multiple offers, and you have that contingency where no seller's pretty much going to accept it, it makes your offer stronger because you got your down payment ready to go, and you can go ahead and wait till you have the home of your dreams. So you don't have to settle on a house just because, hey, this is the best one out there. I'm like, well, okay, I guess I'll have to accept it, because my house is under contract. No, you have your money now. It's a little inconvenient moving twice, but you get to wait for the right house to come on the market so you can put on a strong offer. Now, a couple of challenges with this is that moving twice stinks, and there are some additional costs. So having to pay movers twice, or rental, or be a family and friends will a little inconvenient, but hey, it's worth it to get the right house instead of walking in every day saying, well, it was the best one available. That's no fun. So that's number 3. And moving on to number 4 is a bridge loan. Okay, so a bridge loan is a short-term loan that allows you to borrow money for the down payment on your new home while you sell your current house. So it's great for focusing on buying your dream home. So if you want to say, hey, I found my dream home, I just want to go buy it right now. I don't have the down payments, and I don't really want to, the monthly double payments can be a little bit rough, but I'm going to go out and get that bridge loan, and it's going to help me with that down payment. Sometimes you can roll into that expected double mortgage payment, and sometimes too they'll work it out to where after you do sell your house, you can roll in all the proceeds or however much you want into a new loan that is a little bit lower interest rate. So it can definitely give you a little bit more flexibility. Now there are a couple of challenges with it. Oh, and then also bigger banks and credit unions mostly do this. Your smaller lenders most likely will not do that. But the challenge is it can be expensive, so you usually have a little bit higher interest rate. And it's risky because you don't know how long it'll take for your home to sell. So you can be paying a double mortgage payment for a little while. So that's it, guys. Those are the 4 tools that you have for helping make that process of selling and buying a home at the same time. Check out my website at holub.com, and please give this a like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. All the best.